Hello, fellow plant people, people who have followed me for a while, and actually quite a few new subscribers. Welcome. You might be wondering why I'm not talking. And that is simply because the audio technology on my equipment that I normally use to film these videos has long since gone kaput. So I have no sound. I'm doing a voiceover. I hope that's okay. But I've got a lot of really cool things to show you today. The first part of this video is going to be a seed sharing experience for you. I'm going to show you what I'm planting this spring, and I also have some really cool new developments around my house that I wanted to show you. So without further ado, you guys, let's get started. So because of technology issues and other life issues, and I haven't been able to film videos at the quantity or on the subjects that I've wanted to, we'll start with the seeds. So this is my calendar from last year. I did a seed starting calendar that outlined when I would be starting seeds ahead of time. I'm going to do that again this year. I'm going to use my 2021 calendar as reference, and I'm basically moving my whole timeline a couple of weeks later. I ended up last year with a lot of seedlings that were ready to go out and into the ground before I could plant them because it was just too cold up here in zone 4B. So starting a few weeks later, I think is going to ensure that I'll be able to get those seeds out into the ground when they need to be planted. I'm also doing some winter sowing this year as an experiment, so more on that in a little bit. But this is kind of a generalized sketch of what the garden's going to look like. So I went through, I picked out the seeds that I thought did really well and the plants that I thought performed really well last year in the conditions I can provide, and kind of did a little revised layout of my 24 by 14 foot garden bed. You can see there's some blank spots on this sketch. Basically, my yard is just below the garden, and then I have this empty space on the right side, which I will show you what's going to go there in a little bit. Let's talk tomatoes first. So these are a few new varieties that I picked up this year. I am planning on growing some of my favorites from last year, but I thought I'd give these a try as well. We'll start over here with the elevated gardening seeds. So this is a new seed seller that I have been following on YouTube for a while, and she does do seed sharing and seed sales. So this first one, I was looking for a good plum or sauce tomato. Didn't have that last year. Thought maybe this one would be a good one. Purple Russian. It's a 75 to 80 day indeterminate tomato. And then I can never resist the oddities. So I also picked up a pink furry boar tomato. It's a rare heirloom variety, 80 days to maturity, also indeterminate. And I also then have my tomatoes that I picked up from Baker Creek. This one was a really highly rated one. It's a sauce tomato. So I'm kind of weighing my options between this one and the Purple Russian, but I've heard good things about this. I also wanted to look into another beefsteak tomato because I had one beefsteak that performed really well, and I'd really like to increase my yield of just the nice big heirloom beefsteak tomatoes. So this watermelon beefsteak, I think will do the trick. And then I couldn't resist this interesting little guy, a black strawberry. It's kind of a cherry-sized tomato that reportedly has really great flavor. So those are the new ones that I picked up. Let me show you. These were my winners. I've got 3 winners and then one that I did not try last year, but I'm growing this one for my grandmother. She really likes sweet yellow cherries. So we're going to try the Eggplants from Seed Savers. This one did great last year in my garden, the Cherokee Purple from Hudson Valley Seed Company. So this is a no-brainer. We're doing this one again. Just really, really awesome yield and really good fruit. This one was slow to produce, but the fruit it produced were delicious. Aunt Ruby's German green. I made so much salsa verde out of that. And then this one was my hands down favorite, the orange peach tomato. I grew this out of a grow bag and it just went nuts in my yard. So those are the tomatoes, guys. Let's talk cucumbers and squash. So these are my new ones this year. We'll get to those first, and then I'll show you the ones I'm thinking about growing again. So for cucumbers, I've got two options. Didn't have a traditional cucumber last year, but really think I want to up my pickle game this season. So we're gonna try this one. I've heard good things about it. I've heard that it is, again, pretty drought tolerant and fungus tolerant or resistant. I also have this homemade pickle option. Not sure which one I'm going to try yet. I'm leaning toward the Japanese Ayanaga Dubai cucumber. And then I also have this one I'm really excited for, the honey nut squash. So this is the smaller, more compact butternut squash that's super concentrated in flavor. I am so excited for this. Really, really excited for that one. So a couple of vines to put up my trellis. Kind of weighing some options here. This I grew last year, the Zucchetta tromboncino, and this was a dynamite plant. It just was so prolific. I kind of want to grow it in a spot where I'm going to be able to access it a little better because I'd like to catch the fruit before it gets huge. My other option is this Black Beauty zucchini. I did not grow this last year. I ran out of room, but I'd like to just have a traditional zucchini as well if I can fit one in. And then I feel like I have to grow these again. This was so much fun to grow last year. My Mexican sour gherkins, or mouse melons they're called. This one I got from Fruition Seeds, and it was a dynamite grower for me. It's tiny, tiny little fruit. And Fruition is great because they produce varieties that are fairly cold tolerant. So right up my alley up here in 4B. So these are the vines. So for legumes, I have two bean varieties, and then I'm going to throw in this snow pea. I'm going to try this again. Limited success last year, but I have some thoughts on how to do it this year. But this for sure is going to be a repeater. I grew dragon tongue beans last year, and they were phenomenal. Just produced all summer long. Really hearty, good yield. Drought tolerant, loved that variety. I'm also going to try this one this year. I haven't tried it yet. My purple King Sessing pole bean. So this is an heirloom variety. It's used by some indigenous communities in this country, so I am excited to give this one a go. This is from Roughwood. And yeah, I think that it's going to be a good experiment. From what I understand, it's a pole bean, so it should be a climber, which is what I'm looking for. Then yes, the snow pea. We're going to give this a try again. Ignore that's just a water splotch on the artwork there, but did okay last year. I have some thoughts about how I'm going to make these a little more hardy so that they start producing a little bit earlier. So those are my legumes. All right, so I kind of have a mixed bag of miscellany right here. We'll start with the eggplant. These aren't new. I grew both of these last summer, and they were dynamite. And I didn't want to change a thing. Why mess with a good thing, right? These are what I wanted. They're what I wanted to grow. They grew really well. I'm going to grow them again and hopefully have as much eggplant this year as I did last year. It was just so much eggplant. It was perfect. Then this is new. I have never grown corn in my garden before, and I wanted to give this a try because I've heard so much about glass gem corn. It's a parching and popcorn. This I picked up from Fruition Seeds, and yeah, I'm gonna give corn a try, guys. If you have any corn tips, let me know. And so then onto the fruit. I have a couple of alpine strawberry varieties here that I grew last year. Alpine strawberries are actually perennial in my zone. They come back, but I did want to try this new variety that I picked up from Renee's garden. These are heirloom pineapple alpine strawberries. So I'm hoping between the three, if the two come back and that third pineapple variety, I will be set for the strawberries. These kind of an interesting combo here. I am really excited about the watermelon. This is an early producing watermelon. It's supposed to do well in cooler climates. So the blacktail watermelon I'm excited about. The mango or vine peach is a little bit more of an experiment. So watermelon, yay, we're going to really focus on that one. We're going to see how the vine peach does. So you see this space right here. I'm going to write a word in this space that's going to represent the structure that is going to be ultimately constructed in this space this spring. You guys, I have a greenhouse. I have a greenhouse. It is not a huge greenhouse. It's 4 foot by 6 foot, but it is going to help me grow the vegetables that I want to grow more of, that I sometimes struggle with. And so, let me show you all of the peppers, you guys. This is the year of the pepper. Last year was the year of the tomato. I really want to experiment with these this year, find out which ones grow well outdoors versus the greenhouse, and which ones I really like. So we'll start with my favorite pepper of all time, or my favorite pepper at least that I grew last year, the korbachi. This is a Turkish heirloom, and it grew really, really well out in my yard. It was in a grow bag. It was super prolific, and it just did phenomenally well. Same for these jalapenos. They also grew out in my yard in the elements. They did fine. A little bit of a late start, but we had a cool spring. And then my Thai hot peppers also did really well outdoors. So those 3 varieties plus this last one, my prick chi fa Thai hot peppers that were basically, it was my favorite hot pepper from last season. They did really, really well, were really prolific as well. So those 4 varieties will grow in similar conditions that they grew in last year, just because they've been proven to do so. But as for the experiments, let me show you what we're doing. So this sweet pepper may actually also grow out in the garden. This Violet Sparkle from Fruition Seeds, it's supposedly a pretty hardy pepper. Fruition usually produces some fairly hardy varieties, so pretty excited about that. The habanada, this pepper I've been wanting to try. It is supposedly all of the flavor of the habanero pepper without any of the heat. So I'm excited about this one. Really, really excited. That'll be a greenhouse pepper. Ashe County pimento, this one I'm really excited about too. This, I believe, is a fairly rare heirloom, and it's quite compact, so I feel like this might be a good contender for the greenhouse. And then the next one, these are from Baker Creek, the next few. The next one is Japanese sweet pepper. This is called the Murasaki purple pepper from Nara Prefecture in Japan. And then let me see what we've got going on here. This one I'm kind of confused about. I don't think it's a sweet pepper, but if it's a hot pepper, great. This is definitely a greenhouse one because it's from the Caribbean and Latin America, from that region of the world. And I cannot pronounce this to save my life, and I'm not even going to try on voiceover, so we're going to give it a go, though. That's a greenhouse pepper for sure. And then my other sweet pepper that I have here are shishito peppers. I'm going to give those a go. I'm going to try some from Johnny's. Okay, on to the hot peppers. So, just so many hot peppers, you guys. I hope that I have room for all of these. I wanted to do an ancho poblano pepper, so I've got one from Fruition we're going to try. This one, I'm not sure, may try out in the yard. Hungarian hot wax pepper is also on my list of things to try. This will be a greenhouse pepper. And then this cute little guy, again, not sure I can really pronounce it, but I'm excited. This fairly compact, both of those should be. Then this one from Renee's garden, it's the Bulgarian carrot pepper. It's an heirloom chili pepper from Bulgaria. They're really hot and fruity, good in salsa, it says, or sauces, heat and lots of flavor. I guess they're really good for pickling as well. So this one I had last year, but I did not get a chance to grow it. The Chimeo del Norte, it's a New Mexican chili pepper. So this is Hudson Valley Seed Company. Another seed brand that's fairly decent and then this one, I forgot, this is a sweet pepper, this Criolla de Cocina. So kind of a mix in there, but I think this one's going in the greenhouse. Let's see, and then I just have a few left. I picked these up from just a local hardware store, I think. They were just hanging out in the corner, but I found some Fresno pepper seeds. I found this Guajillo heirloom Mexican chili pepper seed. And then I found this Hatch Green chili. So these are all kind of billed as medium heat peppers, Scoville between 3,000 and 5,000 units. So I'm excited about all of those. You guys, it's so many peppers, but I feel like it's worth experimenting. Find the varieties you like. Find the varieties that grow well in your space. That's the goal. So I decided to go ahead and write out my list of peppers, where I'm anticipating putting them, and I will later come back in and take a look at quantity. So here's the greenhouse list, and then here's the outdoors or grow bags or garden plot list. So you can see, pretty lengthy list. We'll see if I have room, but that's always the idea, is to just see if I can, if there are some sweet peppers that need to go in my yard, that'll work just fine. So next I want to share a little bit about what I'm going to try. This is also an experiment. I'm going to do some winter sowing. I know it's silly. It's March already. I'm in 4B. So this new variety of Mizuna, I'm really excited to try. This Beni Hushi. I love Mizuna. I grew a really beautiful Mizuna and Chinese cabbage spring garden last year. So I want to do this, basically replicate that because it worked so well. But some of these Chinese cabbage varieties I feel like might do or take pretty well to winter sowing. So I'm going to try that. I might sow a couple of these indoors just to have started ahead of time as well. As a backup, I'm going to do chard and kale. I'm going to try this heirloom broccoli rabe, and then also some of my kohlrabi that I grew last season. If you're Minnesotan and you have German family members, you grow kohlrabi in your garden. It's just what we do. So when I say winter sowing, I mean I'm going to be planting these in milk jugs and then putting them outside as soon as possible so that they germinate and get started early. I'm also going to do some flowers. I'm going to do a whole separate video on flowers because I just don't have room in this one. But I do want to take some time to show you guys what I've been up to. I've got some really cool home decor, home reno, DIY projects that I took on. This is one of them that came from my brain. This is my kind of library display plant art shelf. This is basically my main entryway. This is a major wall in my living space. This light is temporary for those plants. I do have another aspect grow light, a pendant light that I'm going to be hanging from that, from the ceiling there. But I really wanted a place to collect my favorite plant books. I've got my some propagation stations here that I hadn't been able to hang up yet, and now they have a home. Just some really cool decor, display items, that star map. I love this space now. It really created some dimension to my living room, which I'm so, so happy about. Just love it. So next up, I'm just going to give you a quick peek of my seed starting room. I've shown people some glimpses of this on my Instagram, but this is pretty much good to go. This is where I have a workspace, I have storage, I have all of my seed starting equipment, pots, etc., soil, heat mats. I've got, this shelf is going to be a space where I can keep some seeds. Yeah, just have basically everything I need. I love this worktop that I created out of some vinyl flooring. My soil, my neem oil and other treatments for plants, propagation vessels, and my extra cash pose and other pots and things. So those plants are all kind of in some form of recovery. There's my poor begonias that didn't do so great. I'll show you where they used to be in just a second, but this is kind of the main event here. All of my lights, all of the humidity domes, my seed starting trays, everything is there. Everything that I need. We're good to go. So avert your eyes. Oh my God. It's very pink. Very, very pink. But I don't actually mind it too much. These lights worked really well last year. Imagine this in my kitchen. This was in my kitchen last year. So I managed to clean out an entire room for this stuff this year. I'm just happy it's in one place. So I just wanted to draw your attention to this beautiful little shelf in my living room. All of my Ceropegia, woodii, and Hoyas, other trailing things are so long now, they need to be tucked behind my picture frames. Just wanted to point that out because that's really fun. They're getting so long. That's some cover art that I designed for my novel, just FYI. But yeah, love that shelf. And then here's another shelf that I really enjoy. This is something I put together this weekend. It's just a plant stand, fairly cheap, but I've kind of created a space in this window that I finally like. This is where that greenhouse was with all of my begonias this winter, and they hated it here. So most of my begonias I've moved out into other spaces, or they're recovering in my plant room. But all of these succulents, I'm pretty impressed that I managed to keep these alive this winter, including these cacti. This is a western window, so they apparently get enough light from the supplemental grow light and then the afternoon light from the window. So all of these succulents and aloe are still with me. Actually not doing too bad, kind of growing, some of them. This pickle plant, this was on my list of plants that I was going to feature in a Planty Weirdos video that I'm still trying to get out. Sorry guys, here's a sneak preview. Definitely on that list. It's a fun one. But yeah, this plant stand was fairly easy to assemble, and now I have extra space for some of these plants that kind of need this corner of my house. So, fantastic. Here's the Hoya room. I guess I just kind of need to show you. I'm still trying to get this room back together. Had a bit of a scare this winter with spider mites. I thought they were spider mites. They might not have been spider mites after the fact, but with Hoyas, it was a trial. But here you can see my Hoya curtisii still going strong, still putting on length. This shelf, again, kind of a mess, trying to get things back to where they needed to be. I put some new lighting under here because some of these little guys weren't happy. Hoping to get some more growth out of them eventually. Again, it is, winter, so I think once things start to warm up here and the days are getting longer, these plants might start to come alive again. But not too many issues with them. I'm still trying to work out kind of an organizational system that I like in here. And that's all I have for this video. Thanks to all of my returning and new subscribers. And I just want to put it out there, until next time, enjoy your plants. And have a great day, you guys.